In 1938, my father went by ship to America. And when he got on the ship, he got a £20 note. And these days, they were very big sums of very big notes. And he cut it in half. And he went up to the purser and said, if I have a good trip, you get the other half. Now, what's very interesting, if you don't have a good trip, you don't get the other half. And what this is the story of, and why this is so important, it's the story of loss aversion. The Nobel Prize was got for something called prospect theory. And prospect theory has many implications, but one implication is that the pain of loss is much greater and has much more effect than the pleasure of gain. Warren Buffett said exactly that. Now, there's some very interesting principles to apply in this issue here. What is happening here? Tipping, of course, is a very interesting psychology. Why do we tip hairdressers? Why do we tip taxi drivers? Why don't we tip? What is the role of tipping? It's a very interesting one. Would you like, for instance, when you go to a restaurant, would you prefer to be able to tip the people, or would you like to pay the 10%? I mean, do you prefer the option or the idea that the restaurant puts in 10% on the bill? Most people say the option. Why do they add 10% to the bill and don't want you to tip the waitress or waiter?
Because they get more money that way.
No.
They share it.
They share it. And here's the issue. It's a very interesting issue. Who is the most powerful person in the restaurant other than the manager? The cook, the chief cook. Now, the waitress knows that if she is quick and efficient and charming and all the rest of it, she can probably get a bigger tip. She will get more money. Therefore, she might put pressure on the cook to do things faster, or the barman. So she is the whole relationship in the workplace, in the restaurant, is changing because the powerful person hasn't got control of the less powerful person. And then there's competition between waitresses. Now, which is good for you, the client, but not good for the nature of the restaurant. And so what they do is they will put the money on the bill, which can be shared and more proportionate to the waiter, to the cook, who is the more important person. But what's the story? This story says, if I show you the money and take it away, it will have more effect than if I give you the money afterwards. Here's a little story we did for Ford Motor Company. It's about the endowment effect. And I'll tell you a story about this. I drive my wife's 15-year-old Toyota motor car. This is an exceptionally sad thing to do. My son is humiliated by his father driving this rickety old motor car, which I said to him, as soon as it starts going wrong, we'll get another one. But as you know, Toyotas don't go wrong. And he really doesn't like this experience at all of our driving this motor car. But we went into a showroom the other day, and I went into the showroom to have a look at the cars, and my son was very pleased about this. What was the first question I was asked in the showroom, do you think, by the salesperson? What was the first thing he said?
Did they ask you your budget?
No.
New or used cars?
No.
Who was going to drive it?
No, those are all good questions, and they came a bit later.
Do you want a coffee?
That's very good, very good. The reciprocity norm. Yes, they did that a little bit later.
What car do you drive?
That came a little bit later.
How old's your car?
Yeah. Well, that's the second point. Let's answer this question in a moment. How much do you think my 13-year-old Toyota is worth? 15-year-old Toyota is worth? Because you can look this up in a book. Do you want to guess? It's £320. Dinner for 4 in London. My motor car is worth dinner for 4. I drove it at 100 miles an hour 2 days ago. How can this car be worth that? This is the endowment effect. Now, the question is this. Imagine you are selling cars. What do people want when they want to trade in? Will you be more successful offering me a good trade-in price or a discount? Which works better?
Good trade-in price.
Exactly. Why?
It's because you don't want to lose on it.
Because I overvalue what I own. I just cannot believe my car is worth this amount of money. And so what Ford did was that they said, so we'll give you £1,000 for your truck. And I think, yeah, about 1,000 is about right. It's much more successful than lowering the price. But they did, what was the first question he asked me? Sir, he said, is the safety and security of your family the most important thing in buying a motor car? What are you going to say? No, I don't care if they die? Yeah. Why did he ask the question? Because the car had just won an award for the airbags and that stuff. What did he get me to do? He got me to commit. And then he said, the second question, if the price were right, sir, would you buy? What are you going to say? No, I'm just here to waste your time. This is clever. These people are choreographed. These people are trained to do exactly this.